The more I talk to these guys, the more excited I get for them to talk to even more youth than they already have in the time that they've been engaged in this project, this business, this mission they call Earth Group. So we've invited Matt and Kori to the 2018 Summit at the Bay to inspire grade 9 to 12 students with their story of inquiry and perseverance. And deep desire to change the world because they knew they could. And these are two guys who live by our motto to explore what matters. So thanks so much for being here. And I like anything, this is you guys are a really good people to address the topic of inquiry, because I know you are continually asking yourself the question of how you can do this better and how you can do more and how you can affect more change in the world. So like any change worth making, it all starts with inquiry. And I'd love to know from you guys, what inquiry started the Earth Group vision, and how has inquiry shaped the work that you do?
I guess for me, it was really knowing when to actually ask that question, when to start doing the inquiry. I grew up in Edmonton, which is, it's cold, as you said, but it's also an awesome place to grow up, and, never needed anything, never wanted anything. Didn't realize that 99% of the world doesn't live the amazing lifestyle that we live. And so through some travel, my eyes were open to, that things aren't as great as they are here in Edmonton. And that's when I started, making, those inquiries and started asking questions. Why couldn't a company compete with the biggest companies in the world? Why couldn't a company put out great, products, have a great culture around their company? But why couldn't we give everything we made back to people who really needed it? And that's really where it all began for me, is just sort of asking those real simple questions that didn't seem to make sense to me as I started to sort of see the rest of the world.
To me, I think.
Yeah, for me.
Sorry, go ahead. Was that Matt?
No, fire away, please, Rebecca.
Oh, I just wanted to add to that. I think like that is something we are constantly looking at Rethink Thinking as well, is even our business model, how we do business, how we affect change, not doing things the way they've always been done. And I think that's what you guys were, that inquiry was something you guys were really willing to dive deep into, is like, there's got to be a better way to do this. There's got to be a better way to start a company. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think it's just, it's really a matter of looking at, we've kind of taken this platform of social enterprise and said, people are spending money out there on everyday products like water, coffee, and tea. And generally speaking, it's just lining shareholders' pockets. And sadly, in a lot of times, it's not being produced in an ethical manner, in a sustainable manner. So we thought, why not go out there, find some producers that we believe in, who we know aren't, promoting any child labor, who we know are paying fair, equitable wages and making sure that farmers are working in safe conditions. But then let's go a step further when we sell these products and make sure we're helping some of the world's most desperate people. So really, we consider it more important how you spend your dollars today than how you vote. And we're saying, when you're at the till, rather than buying a beverage product from a company like Coke or Pepsi or Nestle that's essentially just lining shareholders' pockets, why not buy from a company like us, who is really giving children hope and a future and opportunity?
Amazing. And in that, you guys are also really effectuating more change too, in terms of, it's one thing to line the pockets of Coke and Pepsi, but it's, what those companies are doing and how they're miseducating the world about what, not just from a financial perspective, but certainly in what we put in our bodies too.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, those companies really produce a product that no one needs at all, and in fact shouldn't probably consume. So, but yet they are making billions and billions of dollars doing just that.
Yeah.
So what got you guys onto the idea of doing the 100% profits, giving that back, and where did that idea kind of spark in your mind?
I think when we were coming up with the business model, we wanted something to be, something really different and something great that people would be, when they heard about us and when they heard our story, they'd be like, well, that's something we've never heard of. No one's doing that. So that's where we went, was like 100% of net profits to fight world hunger, essentially, through the World Food Program. And that's sort of what we came up with. It. We wanted to do something that also, when we started as a tiny company out of a garage in an old van, we needed the United Nations, who we wanted to partner with, to actually take our call. So we had to have a good value proposition for them. And so when we phoned and said, well, look, these guys want to give us 100% of their profits. That's something. Let's maybe give them a call back. Yeah.
Absolutely. Who doesn't want to call those guys back?
Believe me, there's a lot of people that don't want to call us back. That's kind of one of the things about our company is that we literally call people for sometimes years before they finally answer the phone call. I mean, the reality is we're not Coke and we're not Pepsi, and we don't have the ability to get to the table with these massive corporations with just a quick phone call. So it often takes really innovative and kind of dogged tactics to just pursue people until we finally get a 2-minute phone call. And we always find that if we get 2 minutes with someone, that turns into 5 minutes and turns into 10 minutes, and they want to learn more of our story. And at the end of the day, when they realize that collectively we can all do some good, it's going to look good on their company, it's going to look good for their customers, then the discussion starts to happen. And like we say, I mean, if we can get that 2-minute phone call 99% of the time, it'll turn into a customer or a partner of some sort.
Absolutely. And I think you guys really, from what I know about your story, you've hit many roadblocks along the way, and people not taking your phone call is just the beginning of it, right? It's like you've come up against roadblock after roadblock, as you often do when you're trying to do something that has never been done before, you know. And we really resonate with that story, and it's something that I think is really important to share with young people. And the thing that I love most about you guys is that, you know, it's not like either of you come from these backgrounds of, you know, you see a lot of big organizations that start that are like yours, you know, that are doing good in the world, but they start with tons of money. They start with tons of influence. And that's awesome. If you can start there, good for you. But the average person, which is what I love about your story, is you guys are average guys. You guys are dudes from Edmonton. And I love that, you know, that you didn't let the fact that you didn't have tons of money and power and influence stop you from making something really big in the world. So, and again, that's what I want to share with young people. So if you don't mind sharing a little bit about your kind of ups and downs and where you come from and that with us, I would love to hear a little bit about that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you talk about sort of the start and the funding to start. And in fact, I started the company basically with some money from my friends and family who believed what I was trying to do. But I also used what I had left over from my student loan money, which I found out later is totally illegal. So don't do that. I paid them back since, but you're not allowed to use student loan money to start a business. They'll never find me now. It's all paid back. But it's, you know, sometimes you just got to do whatever it takes to get something off the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. We never advise people to start a business with a credit card, but I've done that more than once.
Oh man, I think we had 9 credit cards.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's not even yeah. I don't even want to talk about credit cards.
Pretend money is my favorite. The entrepreneur's friend.
There you go. So we're super excited that you guys are coming to the summit and like sharing your story with the kids and getting up there. And I totally think that the kids are going to get really excited about what you're going to share when you're at the summit. But I'm curious, like, how do you see your work actually impacting youth, like directly? Like, do you guys do the boots on the ground thing with the kids? Like, how does that unfold for you guys when it interacts with youth?
Yeah, you know, one of the things that's brought us success over the last few years is that we've been really lucky to go out and speak with a ton of youth, whether that be at sports clubs or, you know, primarily through kind of elementary, junior high, and high schools. So we get a chance to go into a classroom or a gym full of students and tell our story, and then figure out different ways of how we might, you know, run a fundraiser with them or leverage a group of students to approach their local grocer or put them together as kind of a street team at the next festival that we're sponsoring. So we find their energy incredibly contagious, inspiring. I mean, it's, you know, you sit back and you think, oh my goodness, I've made 10 phone calls today and no one's getting back to me. You know, we're climbing up the hill here. But then you speak to a group of young students and they are so over the top excited and they understand what we're trying to do. And I mean, it's incredible. They're just, in some sense, I guess they're not jaded yet, you know, of the kind of the challenges of adulthood. Their excitement is just so empowering for us. So we look to it as kind of an energizing factor for us, which is part of the reason why we're so excited to come out and be a part of your event.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of neat, right? Where it's great to work with youth and give all your time and energy to that, but it's also, we get something back. I totally get something back when we do the summit and when we go to the school visits as well. Like, that energy and the excitement. And yeah, they're totally the rebels, right? If they're given the right permission to go find new ideas and chase them down, like, yeah, they're the rebels of the world that we kind of need to spend a little bit more time listening to. And, you know, we totally get something back more than just,
so much gain, yeah.
Yeah, and all that energy that goes with that. And yeah, like, are you guys involved, you know, involving youth with the work that you do, like out there with the United Nations, and that, is it, you know, how does that look, how does that piece look for you guys?
Cool. Oh, sorry, I apologize. I had my phone on mute. Yeah, we work really directly with the United Nations World Food Program. They're an amazing group of people, and probably the most passionate people I've ever met in my life. We really rely on them to execute all of our projects on the ground. So essentially, we fund the projects, they get them going. So they've got local people working, they've got all the infrastructure, they've got the engineers, they're drilling the water wells, they're purchasing the food, they're putting in the solar panels. They can do all that amazing stuff for, you know, far less than any other organization on the planet can do. So we're lucky to be working with an organization like that, working all over the world. In fact, they're always the first in and the last to leave. You know, they're the only organizations in South Sudan and North Korea, for instance. Mm-hmm. So that what makes our relationship unique, and we're really proud to be working with them.
Such a great involving the youth and, hey, between like that. I think this is one of the things that we really try to show not only young people, but people in business in general, is like, you guys don't have to reinvent the wheel of, you know, United Nations knows how to get kids fed around the world, knows how to, you know, go into these countries and do the work that they're doing. And you can, you know, really create a solid partnership with an organization like that who can really do the right things with the money that you're bringing in. And so what you guys have created there with them is really, really powerful, and not trying to reinvent the wheel. You know, that collaboration is everything.
Mm-hmm. For sure. I mean, it's for us, if we make a donation to the UN and they're out there building, say, 9 schools in the community, well, they can go 30 or 40 kilometers down the road and build that 10th school. They've already got, like Kori says, the infrastructure and the engineers and all the materials to go out there and put that money to work immediately. When we make our donations, it's literally the money can be in the field within days, and it's just 25 cents US to feed an educated child. So there really is just no other charity around the world where you get that kind of bang for your buck. And again, like you say, Rebecca, it just means when we make a donation, that impact is really, truly amplified and is going as far as it possibly can.
Awesome.
So when you guys reached out to the UN or even thought of doing that, I mean, you know, I wonder that sometimes, like the kids that we had at the summit last year had some wonderful ideas, and I know they had lots of questions like, what can I do next, and how can I make this happen? How can I make this grow? I mean, do you have any advice or anything where, you know, you can share with the youth that says, you know, this is why we thought reaching for the UN, such a international, huge organization, is the right move for us, but also, you know, it's a big step and it's a huge organization, and, you know, should we do that? Like, we're just, you know, a couple of guys trying to do good things, but, you know, we're not a huge organization just to reach out. So, you know, is there any sort of ideas or inspiration there that you might want to share about going for the big fish and just doing it?
I think you just said it, that last line. You just got to do it. There's a lot of people that sit around and write their ideas down on paper and think about it for years and never ever do it. You know, we kind of believe the world needs more doers. I mean, if you get shot down 100 times, then you get shot down 100 times, right? That's you know, that 101st time might be the one where you make it and go after it. There's no one says you can't phone the United Nations and try to set up a partnership. And it was extremely difficult. We've been told, between Matt and I, we've been told no 10,000 times. I can't even imagine how many times. But that tenacity is what's going to keep things going. And that's really what it's about. If you're passionate about something, you've got to go for it. You know, phone the biggest organizations, contact the biggest grocery chains in the world, whatever it takes. And don't let anybody tell you no. And we've been told that we should shut our company down. We should stop doing what we're doing so many times by, you know, what are supposed to be very smart people that you're supposed to respect, but you have to be careful where you take your advice from and who you listen to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think to Kori's point about being passionate, you have to really find something that you believe in more than anything, because when you get your 100th no, you have to know that I'm going to wake up tomorrow and make that next call, that 101st call, because I truly believe in this. I think this is more important than anything. Whatever your cause may be, whatever your idea, you truly have to believe that and feel it inside of you and know that no matter how many times I get knocked down, I'm doing this because I believe this is important and this matters for the world and this matters to me. And it doesn't matter how many times you tell me no, I believe in this. We'll keep going. I will keep fighting.
Yeah, and if you're passionate about something, you're going to be good at it too. I mean, people are always like, how do you get good at something? You just got to be passionate about it. If you don't like what you're doing, it's very unlikely you're going to be very good at it. So, those are really, really important things.
Yeah, well, and interesting that you bring that up, because I think that comes up a lot with young people. And, you know, one of the things that we're really trying to, you know, work through, not only with young people, but as adults, this idea that, you know, that being innately good at something is going to make it successful. And it's like, you know, like you're saying, the tenacity and the willingness to just, you know, go out there and do it. Am I freezing?
You froze just for a bit, but now you're back.
I'm back. I saw the flash of your internet is unstable, and I was like, oh, that's not a good thing. So I hope I froze on like a really awesome, crazy face, because that's what always happens to me. Anyway, my big point there was is the resilience that is needed, and I think that's something that, you know, we don't get told it's okay to quote unquote fail, you know, in school environments, and certainly societally. It's like you can't achieve anything of any measured success without a whole ton of perceived failure thrown in, and when you know, flop on your face and you get back up and you keep going, it's that resilience and like you said, perseverance and tenacity that counts. And it's something that our message our kids really, really need to hear, is that nothing's ever going to be perfect, and you are going to fall on your face, and you are going to do the wrong thing, say the wrong thing, make a mistake, call 100 times, and the 101st call is the one where somebody says, okay, I'll talk to you. You know, and that's why I'm just really grateful to you guys for making that point, is that resilience is such an important piece for you. And I would love for you to speak to what has helped you create that resilience. Is it, you know, is it family support? Is it friends? Is it just an internal passion you have for what it is that you do, and no matter what, nobody's going to tell you no?
For me, I mean, it's kind of two-pronged for myself. One is that we've had the opportunity to go out into the field and visit firsthand where the kind of funds that we're raising are going. So, for example, I mean, the first time we got to go out and do this was in the Philippines 4 years ago now. And we flew into what was basically just a dirt track in the midst of the jungle, and flew through security checkpoints for a few hours and along this makeshift highway where you see a family on a motorcycle with 3 kids and a pig hanging across the handlebars. I mean, just out of the world kind of pictures that we were seeing. And all of a sudden we stopped on the side of the highway and marched into the jungle for a couple hundred yards. And these students came running out of the jungle around these trees with these beautiful hand-painted signs and these garlands that they had created that they were hanging around our necks, and singing songs to us and just welcoming us into their tiny little village that was in the absolute middle of nowhere, and welcomed us into their school, which was, I mean, the size of like a tiny little stage. I mean, you could fit, you know, 10 kids inside this classroom, but they were bursting 40 of them out the sides of it. And they were just so excited to welcome us into their world and share with us, you know, this is where we study our English, and this is where we get to grow our vegetables, and come kick a soccer ball around of us. And the soccer ball was basically twigs tied together with twine. So, you know, getting the chance to go out there and saying, okay, this is firsthand, you know, what we're saying we're doing, we're actually doing, and this money is actually benefiting these people and giving them a future and hope. And I think that's, one of the biggest things.
Awesome.
How rewarding that must be, right? When you're doing that and you just see, you know, it sounds like the kids are happy and they're just doing things that they like to do out there, and they're surviving. And compared to what we have up here is probably night and day, and it's very different. And, you know, and I think, you know, being able to share that with kids that are up here in North America would be, you know, quite eye-opening for the kids up here, but also the parents and adults and teachers and everybody, right? So, yeah, that's awesome that you guys are taking those visits and going down there.
Yeah, incredible to see in person the impact.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and incredible to see too. I mean, these kids, they're being kids. You know, they're not having to worry about where does that next meal come from, and they're not rushing from village to village at night worried about the next, you know, act of persecution. They have safety and security and full stomachs, and they get to focus on being kids.
Amazing.
So important, right? Like it's food, and then it kind of gives them that emotional safety to be a little bit more kids and do what they, like you just said, like they don't have to worry about who's going to jump out of the bushes and do their thing. And, I can't even imagine, what it would be like to be there in that kind of a position. But yeah, so be able to deliver food and give them that peace and, that calm and, you're fed. So go now have fun and learn. And yeah, like what a great, what a great thing to be able to do and say that you're actually, contributing in such a good way,
I know we only have you guys for a few minutes, so I just want to skip ahead to our last question, because I think it's a really, really important one. And we just, I think we do the work that we do because we think that this is really, really important messaging for young people. You can learn from a book, or you can hear the stories of people like the two of you who have just gone out and really created something big in the world. And I'd love to know from you, we know why we think this is important to share with young people, but why do you think your story is important to share with young people? Why do you think it matters to come all the way to Victoria and talk to 500 kids and share this story with them? Why does that matter to you?
Well, I know from my perspective, it's because this really can change the world. But we're a small company and we can't do it by ourselves. So we need to inspire that next generation of social entrepreneurs to go out there and start their own, social enterprise. I mean, if the CEO of Toyota right now decided to run his company just like Earth Group, well, we could solve world hunger, but that's not. So what we need is the next generation to be, inspired and thinking about the world in a different way, so we can actually make that change, because it is right there and it's real and it can be done. That's why it's really important.
Very well said. Very well said. And I think at Rethink Thinking, we could not agree more. We need to continually rethink how we do things and really look at ways we can make change in the world. And we certainly believe that the way to do that is to inspire the next generation. They have solutions. They are capable of looking at the world in different ways. In fact, it's the purpose of adolescence is to do things differently than those who've gone before you. So we're really, really grateful to people like you guys who are sharing your story and willing to come all the way to Victoria and hang out with a group of 500 kids over a weekend in April. So we're super excited that you guys are coming. We can't wait for the kids to hear more of your story, and we hope that this message is getting out there to some of the parents and teachers who might want to send kids to the summit and send them to hang out with you and hear from you in person. So we're really grateful, you guys, for taking the time and hanging out with us today, and we're looking forward to seeing you in April.
Likewise, and from our end too, I mean, we know exactly how hard you guys are working to make this happen, and the resilience that you guys have shown to power through. And I mean, I know it's been a tough road, I guess, the last couple of weeks, but you guys have just put your heads down and figured out a way to make this work. So equally, it's inspiring for us to come out and work with people like yourselves. And I think the students and the youth out in Victoria and the Victoria area are very lucky to have you guys doing what you're doing for them.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, we're excited. There's big things happening over here, right? Little hiccups are part of the road, and we're really excited. It's going to be bigger and better than ever in April, and we're really excited that you guys are going to be there with us. Yeah,
that's exactly it. Nothing more than a hiccup.
Yeah, exactly, right? Keep going. Get up and keep going.
There you go. Exactly.
Awesome. Thank you both so much, and we're really looking forward to seeing you and hearing more of your story as it unfolds.
Great. Thanks so much for your time today.
We're excited to see you guys soon.
Okay. See you soon. Take care.
Very much.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.